Do you know how to tell when you need to raise your rates as a professional private investigator? Well, if this question has ever crossed your mind, then this video is for you. Welcome to the PI Guide, tips, tricks, and advice for professional private investigators just like you. My name is John Morris. I'm a licensed professional private investigator in Colorado. As the new year is quickly approaching, I find myself going through my end-of-year tasks as I do every year. One of those tasks is to evaluate the hourly rate that I charge as a PI. Now, you may well know I never sell by the hourly rate. I sell by retainer or on a flat fee to get the job done. However, there is a method to calculating that retainer, and that method starts with an hourly fee. Over the course of nearly 13 years in business as a PI, I have raised my hourly rates on several occasions. Many PIs seem reluctant to raise their rates, and I understand their fears. If they raise their rates, they may lose some business, but then they may gain some business too. Let's look at a few scenarios for private investigators. First, there are the subcontract only or mostly private investigators. I work with several PIs that mostly only do subcontract work, and there's nothing wrong with that in the least bit. When I started, all I did was subcontract work. Now my company still has a few subcontract clients, and that workload is less than 10% of all of our work. If you mostly do subcontracting, then raising your rates may not be as easily done as you would hope. But if you are growing your subcontract client base, then it can easily be done with some good planning and strategically handling the situation as time unfolds. To help explain it, let me tell you a little bit about myself. When I started as a PI, I worked exclusively 100% for one client, making, get this, $25 an hour flat rate on workers' compensation surveillance cases. When I say flat rate, I mean I got paid a flat fee, $200 a day for 8 hours of day of surveillance. It didn't matter how long it took me to get to the job. It didn't matter how many miles I drove. It didn't matter how long it took me to write my report or compile my video. I got a flat fee. Now, I was very grateful and I am very thankful that I was afforded that opportunity to get so much experience. I was able to literally work 6 to 7 days a week, so my experience level grew quickly. I also hit the cap of earnings potential very quickly too. There is still only so many hours in the day, so many days in the week, and so many weeks in the year. After a few years, I started slowly building up my portfolio of subcontract clients. I was able to locate national firms as well as local firms that were willing to hire me for similar work, and much to my surprise, when I spoke with them, most were very happy to take me on as a new sub at higher rates. In fact, most also paid mileage and travel time and covered report and video editing time as well. Suddenly, I found myself making $35 to $40 an hour as a sub and getting some of that other pay like mileage and travel time and report time. So those 200 days were now becoming $300 to $400 a day or even more. As time passed, I found myself working more and more with those other vendors than with my original vendor. I finally came to the point where I had to raise my rates. It was really hard at first. I was so worried I was going to lose so much work, but I remember the words of a very wise man he once told me many years ago regarding being in business. Those wise words, folks: busy is not profitable, profitable is profitable. I knew I had to be willing to risk those $200 a day jobs and go full bore after those 400 plus day jobs. So I informed that original company and a couple of other clients I was raising my sub rates at the beginning of the year from $25 to $35 an hour, and I wanted to continue to work with them to help us both succeed. Their response was, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. After that, I contacted all of my vendors. I let them know I had some additional free time and I could expand my geographical area as well. That compiled with locating new subcontract clients, I quickly found myself back to working 6 to 7 days a week. The big difference was I was making a lot more money. Now, the crazy part is still to come. Hang on, it gets even better. First, go down, hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button to show your support for the PI Guide channel. Now, after a couple of years had gone by, I had worked myself into doing a lot of direct hire work with private clients. This I found to be even more lucrative. I was charging $65 an hour plus mileage, plus travel time, plus report time, video editing time, research time, and any other time or expense that was related to the case. At this point, I found myself in the situation where I could make $700 to $1,000 a day working for private clients or $300 to $400 a day working for my sub-clients. As I continued to see my private client base grow, I knew I had to make some changes. So, as the end of the year was approaching, I notified my subcontract clients that my subcontract rates were going up to $50 an hour. Then I waited and I waited, and then the emails came in. Most actually either agreed or made a counter offer, and a few just said, sorry, we can't do that. The clients that could not come to terms with the higher rate, I also noted, were the biggest pain in the butt clients that I had. They were the ones that demanded more, paid the least, and micromanaged the heck out of the cases. So it really was a win-win for me. I know I lost some clients, but it freed up time for me to make more money and deal with clients that I preferred to deal with. Now, I never broke off any of those relationships on a sour note, and some still to this day will check in to see how I am doing and sometimes see if I can cover a case for them. Usually this is on an emergency basis, and they are usually more than happy to work with me on my terms. Okay, what if you're working primarily in the insurance defense world, doing workers' comp, slip and fall, personal injury type cases? What do you do then? Well, hang on. We will discuss those opportunities in just a second. First, go down, hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button for me really quick. That really does help the channel out a lot. If all of your clients are insurance companies, you may be in a different situation. As a general rule, insurance companies want to pay a flat rate per job based on an hourly rate, usually in the $65 to $95 range. It is very hard, in fact impossible in most cases, to raise your rates with them if you are in their higher tier of pay. But you can go out and bid other insurance companies at a higher rate. When you land those new contracts, you can start swapping some of the lower paying job hours with the jobs from the new client. This can be a little more scary though, as insurance work can be plentiful, but it is a what have you done for me lately world. 1 or 2 bad experiences and you could be out of client really quick. You can also start offering similar services to attorneys and law firms. As a general rule, you can charge more per hour for surveillance when working for an attorney or a law firm, but the work may be much more sporadic. But what if you're already working for attorneys and law firms? When do you raise your rates with them, you ask? Great question. First, I know I ask this a lot, but please go down, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. That really does help the channel out a lot. I do the same with my attorney clients as I did with my subcontract clients. Once my workload is full, it is time to raise my rates. I remember the first time I did this, I had a huge client that I did a lot of criminal defense work with. In fact, he brought me in under his wing and he showed me the ropes in doing criminal defense investigations. The problem was at that time he was my lowest paying client. I constantly found myself struggling to find enough hours to get all of the workload completed. He was taken back when I told him I was raising my rates. I let him know I had raised my rates a couple of years prior, but I would raise his rates half this coming year and a half the next year. He did understand why I had to raise my rates, but he said he wasn't able to pay that much and we had to part ways. Now, not more than a year went by and he called me and wanted to know if I could work some cases for him. We discussed the hourly rate, he agreed to my proposal, and we continued to work for many more years together. If you are providing the quality of service the client wants, they will pay you for the work product that they need. After all, it is more about them charging their client the fair price for your services, not the lawyer paying you out of their pocket. I always recommend to PIs to evaluate their pricing every year. End of year is a good time to do this, and you should be reviewing your year-end financials too. Here is the big secret that you've been waiting for, folks. When you are busier than you care to be, the phone never stops ringing, and everybody is happy to pay your current rates, then it is most likely time for you to raise your rates, folks. Go ahead. Start reviewing yourselves and your situation now. Is it time for you to raise your rates? Hey, here are 2 more videos that I made just for you. Thank you so much for supporting the PI Guy channel. Tips, tricks, and advice for professional private investigators just like you. Now go down, please. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button for me. And remember, folks, stay safe out there.